Coming up, the latest in a triple stabbing in downtown Fargo.
A Grand Forks grocery store drops its mask requirement. Are others in the valley following suit?
Plus, a whistleblower alerted us to gunshots. What we found out may surprise you. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
An update for you tonight. The woman accused of stabbing 3 people in downtown Fargo is behind bars.
Just before 1 this afternoon, police were called to the Mexican Village parking lot for the stabbing report, shutting down Main Avenue for several hours. The naked woman locked herself in a car, but finally surrendered after nearly 3 hours of negotiations. Sources tell us one victim was stabbed in front of the nearby animal shelter, while the other 2 were stabbed in the restaurant parking lot. Police haven't confirmed those details, but they do say the injuries of all 3 people involved are not expected to be life-threatening.
Masks are on their way out in Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz will sign an executive order in the morning removing the state's mask mandate. The CDC issued new guidance earlier today saying fully vaccinated people don't need to wear masks in most indoor and outdoor settings.
The good news is that we'll be in the morning fully signing the executive orders to remove the statewide mask mandate, but there will be decisions that can be made by local businesses, by local jurisdictions, and certainly in the healthcare industry, as is relatively normal. People will continue to mask in some of those settings, but it will be highly recommended. The commissioner and
Schools and child care facilities will still be required to have masks.
Hugo's in Grand Forks taking note of the new CDC guidance. They have lifted their mask requirement in all of their stores. We reached out to local grocery stores across the FM area. Hornbachers, Cashwise, and Family Fare all tell us they are still requiring masks and don't know yet when that requirement will be lifted. The same goes for big box stores like Target and Walmart. Again, this recommendation is only for those who are fully vaccinated. If you're looking for a place to get the vaccine, you can use our VNL vaccine tracker. It's on the home page of our website, or you can open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen and then tap the link that pops up.
Today, someone called our whistleblower hotline worried about geese being shot at a park in South Fargo. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling dug in to find out what's going on just off of 33rd Avenue South. It's a story you'll only see on Valley News Live.
Neighbors concerned today after they believe geese were being shot at by employees of a neighboring company, B&G. So we checked it out, and B&G showed us the culprit behind these gunshots. That is the sound of a scare-away gun. It makes a loud sound to drive away geese that have been damaging their property.
I understand that. If you're uninformed about something, if the sound that it makes, you may think that it's a gunshot.
According to Brazel, the geese damaged their property by leaving stains on the grass and on the sidewalks. The tool they use is a bright orange gun that needs a permit from the USDA. And the USDA came out to train B&G on how to use it.
So they gave us the launchers and they gave us the primers and, they gave us the little cones that we, shoot out of the scare-away launcher. Also, we call Fargo PD every time.
There have been posts made on social media calling out B&G for the shots at geese. But B&G's Beth Brazel wants to set the record straight.
Sometimes when there's new neighbors or people don't understand, it's concerning. I think it would be concerning if I didn't know what the noise was. I think my brother had little pop guns that did more damage than this thing ever could do.
In Fargo, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
Brazel adds that they also call the Fargo PD dispatch before they fire the gun to give them a heads up. And if you need help uncovering an issue in your community, here's some advice. Call our whistleblower hotline. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. Call 701-237-6576 and leave your tip.
A man facing charges for allegedly taking hostages during a robbery at a St. Cloud bank now faces one more charge. In addition to aggravated robbery, assault, and 5 counts of kidnapping, 35-year-old Ray McNeary now faces a federal bank robbery charge. Authorities say McNeary entered the bank on May 6th to complain about fraud with his account. He allegedly became angry, demanded $60,000, and threatened the manager with a scissors. The standoff lasted about 8 hours. The hostages made it out safely. McNeary's bail was set at $1 million this week. The federal charge alone carries a maximum sentence of 25 years in prison. We're learning more about shots fired last night in Bemidji. Officers now say more than 20 shots were fired, and it started when two men who were walking shot at a car. The driver says they started shooting at his BMW, causing him to crash into a pole. Police describe the men as Native American, potentially armed and dangerous. You can contact law enforcement if you have any information.
Debate continues at this hour in St. Paul over a bill that would legalize recreational marijuana in Minnesota. They've been discussing it for several hours. The bill would legalize cannabis use for adults and expunge the records of those convicted of non-violent offenses involving marijuana. This is the first time the issue is advanced to the chamber floor for a vote. The bill is not expected to get a vote in the GOP-controlled Senate. Longtime proponents of recreational marijuana say passage in the House alone is a heartening step towards legalization.
North Dakota taxpayers are on the hook for nearly $3 million in rent over the next 2 years. It's for office space for a state agency that's not being used. The IT department's 85,000 square foot leased space in Bismarck is mostly unoccupied, except for about a dozen employees. It's the largest and most expensive leased office space in the state. The department intends to allow most of their more than 400 employees to work from home indefinitely.
More than a dozen states are now getting rid of pandemic-related unemployment benefits. That's going to affect more than 1.2 million unemployed Americans getting $300 every week. Earlier this week, North Dakota announced it was pulling out of the federal program, citing severe worker shortages. This week, President Joe Biden warned that people who can work must accept job offers or lose their benefits.
There are still 11 million recalled airbags on U.S. roads. They're responsible for deaths and hundreds of injuries. Tonight, Investigate TV's consumer investigator, Rachel DePompa, has a plea from the man behind the endless warnings in the mail to get those airbags with a deadly defect out of your vehicles.
They arrive in mailboxes daily. Warning letters that a faulty airbag is in a vehicle. Urgent airbag safety recalls. And yet these warnings go largely ignored. 11 million vehicles in the U.S. ranging in age from 2002 to 2015 still have deadly Takata airbags inside the steering wheel. Some still have the faulty airbags on the passenger side. The defect leads to airbag inflators rupturing and sending metal fragments flying. It prompted the largest automotive recall in U.S. history, involving about 100 million inflators by 19 major automakers worldwide. 28 people have died, 19 of them in the United States. 290 more in this country have been in. Goody Rator died Christmas Eve 2012 in front of her 3 small children while driving in Virginia. A mail truck pulled out in front of her. It was a minor fender bender, but the airbag ruptured, sending metal fragments into her face. She bled to death in the car.
There's a large laceration to the left side of her neck, and it extended into, the neck to the point that her arteries were severed.
Older vehicles with long-term exposure to hot, humid conditions are especially affected.
I'm pleading with people. It's to your best interest, it's your family's interest, it's to your human interest, to your community interest, to take time out, stop what you're doing.
Attorney Patrick Junot is the court-appointed special administrator of the Takata airbag recall settlements. He says look for a time you could afford to lose your vehicle for a few days so you can bring your recalled vehicle in and get the faulty airbags out.
If someone told you had a tumor and it would behoove you to take that tumor out, or you could have a life-threatening experience in 2 weeks or a month from now, I would hope you'd go have the tumor removed. It's the same thing with an airbag. We know these things are dangerous.
It just takes 2 minutes to find out if you have this recall on your vehicle. You can head over to safeairbags.com. You can search by vehicle brand or enter your vehicle's identification number or VIN. You can find your VIN number right here at the base of your windshield. Or you can find it right here inside the driver's side door. If you have one of these recalls, call the dealership and schedule an appointment. They will fix this for free.
Rachel DePompa, Valley News Live.
The 19th death related to one of these airbags was just confirmed in late April by Honda and the NTSB. It's from a crash that happened in South Carolina in January.
Later on Valley News Live at 10, tensions are growing over police tactics. The latest on the push for reform.
But first, some of us may be hit with showers again tomorrow. Hutch has your forecast right after the break.